Hi, I'm Tom Field, Senior Vice President of Editorial with Information Security Media Group. My topic today is how and why to think like an attacker. It's my pleasure to be speaking with Craig Harber. He's CTO with Fidelis Cybersecurity. Craig, thanks so much for joining me today.
Hey, thanks, Tom.
So as context, talk to me about what are some of the fundamental differences between how the attackers and how the defenders work.
Sure. So interestingly enough, right, attackers really just need to find one way to get into a system or a network. And if you think about a defender, they need to defend every possible combination of attacker scenarios. I think the other thing that is different really is attackers may be operate in a stealthy mode, or they may be operating in a verbose or a noisy mode, depending on whether they're concerned about attribution. Defenders, though, have limited ability in the way they can actually respond, right? So there are issues with authorities. And so, for example, defenders are not authorized to attack back. The president really has given U.S. Cyber Command that authority. And so that does limit their ability to respond to attackers. I think the other thing to think about is attackers are always looking for the weakest avenue of attack to gain foothold within a system. And from there, they usually move laterally, while the defenders with modern deception technologies can actually use that to their advantage. They can use deception technologies to modify the attack surface in their favor. They can add decoys, they can add breadcrumbs to lure the attacker. So they it's really a game of cat and mouse, right? And so again, the attackers are constantly looking across the system, defenders having to be able to defend against every possible scenario.
So what can we, the defenders, learn from how the attackers work?
Well, what we can learn is really understanding ways to improve our defensive capabilities, because by understanding what attackers are doing, we can use that to essentially change really our defensive posture. Sometimes it really helps us understand how to better put instrumentation out there to understand what's going on. So one of the things that we can do is by constantly understanding the techniques and tactics that the attackers are using, we can actually create heat maps. And they give us a better sense of, hey, attackers usually do these sequence of events in the execution of the attack. And by understanding the scenarios or the sequences that they go through, we can actually start predicting an attack actually before it's even fully occurred. So just seeing the beginning steps, it then allows us to change our defensive posture and say, we're anticipating the next step. And if we start to see that, we can actually change our defenses and make corrections in our defenses in advance of a full-on attack.
So, Craig, given these lessons that we can learn, what we can adopt from how the attackers work, how does this in turn influence reimagining the security stack, and what benefits can be gained by the enterprise in doing this?
Right. So when you start to think about reimagining the security stack, I think one of the premises that we had from the onset was that if we could understand adversary behavior and document it in a framework, and today we have frameworks like MITRE ATT&CK, DODCAR that are out there, it allows us to really understand these are all the possible things that an attacker would do and in different combinations of. So having that understanding of what an attacker does, it then allows us to say, what is the right set of products that I need within my security stack that allows me to better protect, detect, and respond to any particular attack? So just that pure understanding of how adversaries behave, how they attack, and using that is helping us in the decision of what products to put in place. That's really a critical element in the decision process, not only to acquire products, but also how to operate those products. And so that we're constantly looking to defend based on our understanding of the attacker.
So, Craig, let's bring this back to Fidelis. How are you helping your customers, one, to think like an attacker, and two, to simplify that security stack?
Yeah, so the Fidelis Elevate platform, again, with its capability of its network capability, its endpoint capability, its deception capabilities. So given that what we really want to be able to do is to map all capabilities against those cyber threat frameworks, MITRE ATT&CK or DODCAR, what we've done is we've looked at the capabilities inherent to our product, we've mapped them, and so we have a good understanding now of how much coverage can we provide given our platform configured within a customer environment. We then use that to say we can't cover all gaps. I don't know of any vendor in the market that will give you 100% coverage. So we're using that to then identify what vendor partnerships do we think make sense given where we have gaps within our own coverage capabilities. And using that in our discussions with customers as they start to assess the capabilities they currently have, we can better identify where we can plug in and where we can really improve the overall security posture of their environments. And from our standpoint, we really think more about detections. We're looking for how do we rapidly respond. We're looking at the playbooks. So, a lot of vendors out there are saying they map to the MITRE ATT&CK framework, and they're really talking about detections. When we think about it, we think about the entire life cycle. We not only want to be able to detect, but we also want to be able to respond, and we want to be able to respond in cyber relevant time. And we do that through the automated playbook capabilities that we have within our platform.
Well, very good, Craig. I appreciate your time and insight today. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you.
Again, we've been talking about how to think like an attacker. I've been speaking with Craig Harber. He's CTO with Fidelis Cybersecurity. For Information Security Media Group, I'm Tom Field. Thank you very much.